Hello, my name is Rhonda Kitchens. This is Library Orientations and Webinars. The topic is business research. My name is Rhonda Kitchens. I'm a librarian, and anytime you need to reach out to me, please do so. Today I'm talking about business research, but I'd like to talk to you about all your research needs, your reading needs, anything library, research, writing. Reach out to me if you need some help. But today is business research 24/7. Well, at least as long as this piece lasts. There's many databases we have that you can use for business research. When I say databases, I mean containers of digital information, not unlike Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. They have searches, they have specializations. Some are nice enough to say, if you like this digital object, also known as a movie, you may also like another. Some of these particular databases may have print resources, trade magazines, newspapers, some multimedia, all types of things all together. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm going to show you where all of them are, but I am going to be talking about things in terms of business management research, regional news, hey, trade journals, very important for business, because certainly you have your scholarly journal academic side, but you also need your how to do this, or little tales of success, or how this person bought this person, and what's going on in the industry. Trade journals are very, very important in business research. Also, areas where there are statistics, company information, business intelligence, the SWOT analysis, and competitive investigation and financial data. That's right. The databases have all of these things, and I want you to know where they are. And yes, I said SWOT analysis. That's a really huge, big part of business. That's how many people do strategic planning, not just for their businesses, for working teams, for product lines, for marketing, all types of things. Sometimes even individually. It's kind of like a thing that's been placed in all sorts of areas. It's a unique lens to look at strengths. What do you do well? What unique resources do you have? Weaknesses? What can be improved? Where do you have the fewest resources? Where do others see weaknesses? Opportunities. What is open to you? What trends can you take advantage of? Threats. What could harm you? What is your competition doing that could replace you? What threats do your weaknesses expose you to? So it's a really great lens that's used. And when you're going into research, you'll find SWOT is a great keyword to use in doing your research. So let's talk a little bit about keywords. These three things are very key to an awesome search strategy. First of all, truncation. Get more out of one word. Instead of having to go back over and over to use it one time and then use an asterisk to show where you will begin the suffix or the different tenses of a word. For instance, trauma with an asterisk here. See, the A stops here, the A stops here, will give you trauma, traumatic, and traumatizing. Nurse, if you stop it here with the S, you will get the suffixes and tenses. Nursing, nursed, nurses. This is a great way to just do your search once and not have to look for all the different parts of a word. Phrase searching. Suppose you have supply chain. You don't want an article that has supply in the title and chain in the third paragraph. You want them together. So to focus that, put that word in quotations, and that will search it as a phrase so it all comes together in one page. Next, Boolean searching. This is another way to focus your research. If you use and between two keywords, you will get a space between it. Suppose I say supply and chain, you will get things that say supply chain. That's a really bad search, by the way. Suppose I say tourism and SWOT. Then I would get here SWOT analysis on tourism or tourist type things. Here we get or. Suppose we're looking at tourism and travel and things of that nature, and I want to make sure I get them all, I would use or for things that are like synonyms. So I get tourism or travel or tourist, whatever type of thing I need to do. And not will get rid of some things. Suppose you're doing some research and the same piece of information keeps showing up for a country, say. I just saw something, I believe it was with Kazakhstan, and for some reason it was in all these journals. So I put not Kazakhstan. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, but I'm doing the best I can. But so if you see something disagreeable in your search, you can use the not to get rid of it. And if you're using Google, you can use a minus in front of the word. That's how I get rid of Pinterest, which seems to show up in every search. It has nothing to do with it. I just have my Google searches minus Pinterest. There are so many things to go over with you in business research, but this is what I've chosen to do that I think will help you out the most. I'm going to go into a database called Business Source Elite. I'm going to show you how to change the databases or add databases to it. I'm going to talk about the NAICS code. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, but NAICS, and how to do searching using that. And I'm also going to show you the MarketLine profile, not the profile, profile. And this is an EBSCO product. I'm going to show you Business Insights Global. It's a very different type of product. ABI Informed Trade and Industry, emphasis on trade journals. Those very important how-to pieces that also give you the news and information about your work or what you're trying to do or accomplish or create or research. Also, I need to make sure you understand how to use our ebooks. Our ebooks are rich in business resources. Rich, I tell you. And that's a very important word in business. And finally, I'm going to end up with our cross-disciplinary database, ProQuest. It is very broad, but this is the thing about business. Business covers so many things. It covers psychology, sociology, just all the things, everything richly. So oftentimes, even though these do all these pinpoint types things, going here may be very useful. You'd like to know about persuasion. You'd like to know about trends and marketing and ideas and pop culture, all these wondrous things that you can find in a cross-disciplinary database. So I'm going to now go into the library and go through these pieces with you. Hopefully you know how to get into the library. This is bigbend.edu. Come to academics and click on the library. If you have time to do so, it'd be a good thing to bookmark us and you'll be able to get to things. I actually have it on my phone so that I can get to it really fast because most of these databases you can read quite well on your phone. I'm going to Databases A to Z. Now we have here a subject guide that has different topics and I'm going to go into business. Right now we are having an issue, so if you see a security certificate warning, click on Advanced, Bypass, Launch, Show Details, whatever it takes to get to a link that says Easy Proxy and it takes you right into our pieces. So I'm going to go into our list of business databases. We have 24 we've aligned with it and they do different things. I'm going to talk to you about Business Insights Global. We're going to look at this Business Source Elite first. We'll probably begin in the middle with ProQuest, ABI Inform, and I'm going further. Academic Search Complete is like our ProQuest database we'll end with. It covers everything from astronomy to zoology, very cross-disciplinary. If you don't know what you're doing, those two are the best databases to start with. ProQuest, then Academic Search Premier. I want you to know that we have Agricola, which does have a lot to do with agriculture and food-related marketing and businesses. We also have an American History database. If you're trying to look at the history of commerce in America, that will be the place for you to go. It also has primary sources. Business Collection Gale, Business Economic Theory Collection Gale. I consider them not to be as strong. They don't have PDFs. That is the actual image of the article. A lot of times there's a lot of charts and things you really do need to look at, but we do have them and they're part of a great package we have. So if all else fails, definitely use those. Business Regional News, very important. It's one thing to do business in Washington and another to do it in Florida. So what does the business landscape look like? Who's the up and coming? All that type of information will be here. And guess what? It's an EBSCO, so we can build a super database just for us. Also, there we have things like communications and mass media, computer source, very specific to the tech industry. We're going to look into the ebooks. We're not going to look into this because we're going to look at other things around it. This is a Gale database. It's useful. It does have Black Enterprise and some other types of journals in it, but it doesn't have the image of it, so it's just HTML to full text, but it is useful and you will be able to pull out text from it. Global issues and context may not be good for business specific research, but you can kind of see things about other countries, international situations, stability, business opportunities, and things of that nature. Google Scholar, if you use this, it finds scholarly articles that we have available full text if you look for this in the right hand margin. It's a really great place to go. I'll skip over these. Opposing viewpoints will be good for communications type or English 101 level things, or things about business ethics. ProQuest, we're going to end with that. It's huge, it's massive, it's cross-disciplinary. I put this in here because I really think when you're in business, you need to know about behavioral sciences and psychology, persuasion, and all those rich things about humanity. And topic search would be, again, for some of your classes in communications, English, speeches, and things of that nature. So let's go on, and we're going to look at this in terms of being big business people doing our research. So we're going to begin with Business Source Elite. This is an EBSCO database, and the first thing I'm going to show you is a product that's inside of it. When you see this, if you're trying to find a publication name, you can actually search to see if it has it. You can search all the text by authors and titles and subject terms, or you can just leave it in select field. I think I'm going to go with publication name, and I'm going to go with company profile. And that's going to help pull up my MarketLine piece. So you'll see here, instead of pulling up search results with keywords, I'm going to look in the specific thing. Now, this is about WebMD. I'm going to go into the PDF full text. Remember, I'm going to prefer that because that's the actual image from the journal or the piece. Let me move this over. You'll see it's 22 pages long, and it's going to be a company profile. So if you're looking for bits of information about this, let's look at the table of contents. We have a company overview, key facts, business description, history, key employees, key biographies, major projects and service, top competitors, locations, and subsidiaries. So if you're doing a piece or a comparison piece of businesses, these are excellent pieces to use. You can go through them or try to use company profile and see if it covers a particular piece you're into. We have another thing that does something similar, but this does, I think, smaller groups of people. And probably one of the most beautiful things of all, finding people associated with a company, and I don't have this in the notes in the presentation, is you can go on Twitter and find their Twitter feed and sort of start getting a real feel for what they're doing, what they're working on. And I'm not talking about the company, I'm talking about the president, I'm talking about anybody you can find that works for them, and also track them down on LinkedIn. So if you're trying to grow a future professional relationship with them or some insight into what they do, these kind of give you some tips on who to follow, who to look for, and you can also do research on them inside of this database. I'm going to pop out of here and show you some other interesting things. Let me look at this one time. I'm including all my oopsies in this, so you get to have the full experience. I want to see if this has something listed, and it may not. I was looking for the NAICS code. We can find it in another way. So I'm going to go back out to clear my search, and I'm going to look for, I'm going to back out to the front page. You can also find this online, just like looking up NAICS code. But from this database, you can actually find it. I'm glad this showed up because I want you to see, to go over it and keep rolling. And you could do certain searches. And let's see. This links to the web page. And suppose I'm just looking for a keyword. I'm looking for health information services, maybe. And then I'm just going to make it information services. And I see there's bedding, tariff rate, whatever. I'm just going to take this. And I'm going to take us back to business. I'll put the NAICS code there, and I will go to search. I'll show you another place that you can use it. And it's going to find articles about that particular code across the database. This has 59,000. So make sure you select full text, just to make sure you get what you see is what you get. This has some very old information if you need historical, but you can bring this over if you need something more up to date. When you look into this, it's going to give you lots of different types of information, but in this, you will have in your articles, and you can take these from other articles you can see and compare them and find the different NAICS codes associated with that. So here you can also take in other keywords that may be useful to your search. This happens to be, I believe, let's look at the PDF full text. It looks like an actual scholarly article, and this database is a mix of newspapers, trade journals, but out of all of them, and when it comes to scholarly articles, this database, Business Source Elite and ProQuest, will probably have the greater number in terms of business. So let's look at it. It has an introduction, multiple authors. We see who they work for. As an abstract, that's a great deal of transparency. Do we have methods? We definitely have a literature review. Model setting, it's showing us what they're working on. It's working on things like price decisions. It's showing all the math. So if you were looking for a scholarly journal article, this would definitely fit the price. And also while you're here, if you need to do a site, you will use this. Make sure, I'm not sure which brand of citation you're using. It has quite a few of them in here. For using APA, the rule is always copy and correct the title, and this isn't capitalized correctly on this one, for instance, but usually they can be somewhat useful. So I'm going to go back to the search field. So accidentally, more or less, we found a scholarly article right off, but you can make this decision. But notice it says journals, and I want to be clear about this. This will find you a scholarly journal. It will not find you a scholarly article. You still have to look at it. And if it has the PDF and you go through those pieces I talked about, you can sort of see what it is. However, a scholarly journal, it could have book reviews, my first day on the job, and things like that. But the best the database can do is tell you whether or not it's an article. You can also make a decision to go down and look only at trade publications and look at other different subject terms too. So if you were here and you wanted to use the NAICS code, you would put it in. Oh. You would go here and you have a line for that. And that would do the same search if this wasn't sort of doing some glitches. But in general, you would have come up with this. All right, this is the next thing I really want you to see. Choose databases. Choose databases. Sorry about that. Sometimes this will time out on you, which is what happened to me. And if so, go back to the beginning, database AZ, come back in, and you should be fine. But I'm showing you this because you can build your own database. You could come here and you can select for Business Source Complete. You could look over here and choose Regional Business News. If you're doing something in health, you could add some of the health databases. You can add something in Computer Source if you want to add that. If you're working on other things, you can also add social work and psychology issues in here as well. And we also have a hospitality and tourism index that you can use. And once you click them all, and you can also include the ebooks, just include the big, click OK. And when it comes back into this piece, it's going to do a search of everything. And if you forget what they are, you must show all. But here, based on what you're doing, and I'm putting supply chain in quotes so it searches as a phrase, it's going to search all of the databases. And if you look over here to the right, you'll sort of sometimes see what they are. Specifically, these are database, Business Source Elite, and so on. And you'll see which one you're pulling from, if it's the news or whatnot. And you can also, over here, change your source types if you need to do so. You can also just totally go into that other database from here so you don't have to jump around. So this is a great thing. You can do a NAICS search. You can find the NAICS code. You can look for company profiles. Also, let me make sure this is clear. You can find a SWOT analysis. You can find articles about it, articles about industries, and specifically, let's see what comes up here. You can find the SWOT analysis of specific companies as well. So this can do a lot. It's a really powerful package for doing your work in business research. So I'm going to now go to Business Sites Global, and that one's going to be a little bit faster because you'll see what it does immediately just from the front page. So you can find Business Sites Global under B or under Subject Area Business, and it's going to be I'm just going to go across the title. I'm glad this showed up because yes, please go over that until we are able to get that piece fixed. Now you can search by company or ticker symbol. This is going to be a business specific database, like we may not find articles about the theories of supply chains. This also has SWOT reports, company histories, company finders, investment reports, and financial reports, including things like the key ratio. Very important stuff. This talks about industries, market share reports, Plunkett reports, does some comparison charts. I don't think you'll need this, but this part should be really rich for you if you're working on a project about a company, comparing companies or industries, or if you want to look at the financials of things in different industries. This could be very, very useful. ProQuest ABI Inform. You can find it here under Business or ProQuest under P in an alphabetical list. The strength of this particular piece will be the trade portion. Now the trade portion has a lot of value in business research because you just don't need the scholarly articles. You need to know how people are interacting, what's happening on the ground, what people are trying, the new ideas and the trends. So we could put something here like supply chain. So if you're looking for some tiny things like grocery stores or retail outlets or things of that nature, I'm just going to put grocery here to see what happens, and I'm going to hit search. You can also here see you can search by the NAICS code, locations, and some other things. So all of these databases I'm showing you have some rich access points for you to use to find your information. So when you come here, you'll see what I mean. The scholarly journals are few, but the trade journals are many. So this is Supply Chain Institute. Who knew there was one? And it's a wire feed. So you may not want these. These may be slight. And sometimes you may see the same article in several places. It's sort of like AP and Reuters and other places that supply news sources to other people. A supply chain, easy sell. This is Progressive Grocer. It's in India, but it still may have some benefit to you. Overnight grocery store chains. It's in something called Grocer. And that's a little trade journal. But you'll be able to go talk about food supply as an Ontario farmer. So you're going to have all these rich little articles about things, about startup, about marketing, about who bought who's doing what, who's freshening up the grocery chain. And when you go into them, ProQuest is really good about also showing you what else you might need. Remember I was talking about databases are sort of like Netflix and Hulu. A ProQuest is a little bit more like Netflix. Did you like this article? Then you may adore these articles as well. And you'll also have some subject terms and things to look at as well. So you can see there, this is an article on brand loyalty. Certainly you can find a scholarly article doing research on it, but this may be talking about people in the trenches doing the real work and what they're discovering, what worked and what didn't. So it does give you a different point of view. So you can see here between these pieces, there's a great deal of richness. So I'm going to keep bringing that richness and now show you the ebooks. When looking for the ebooks, you can find them here. And I have ebooks, academic, and I think there's ebooks, something else, community college, but they're actually all in ebooks. So you could just look at this one place if you want to do so. And with information, there's going to be different sorts of timelines. Like when we look in business regional news, that's going to be something daily. If we stalk people on Twitter, that's going to be perhaps minute to minute. If we're looking at a scholarly article, that's going to take at least a year usually to get through, get peer reviewed, and get published. If we're looking at a magazine article or a trade, that could be just a couple of months. If we're looking at a book or ebook, that too is going to be a long time. So sometimes these may be dated more quickly, but they're a great place to look for the history and the theories and the ideas of things. So I'm going to come in here and look for supply chain, and I'm just going to leave it like that. I may determine I need to make it as a phrase, but nope, I see it pretty immediately. It's not a really huge database like something with a lot of articles, newspaper articles, so it managed it fine. But you can always change it. You can make sure that you select full text, and if you select full download, it's going to make you create a registration with this database. You don't have to do that. You could just go to the PDF. And the PDF is really rich because you can search for the full text inside of the article. So suppose I'm looking for, I'm just going to put in the word retail. I don't know if it'll be in there, but I'm going to put in retail. And what it does is it gives you a little bit of context. So instead of reading the whole book, this is like an electronic index, and I can click to this, and I could go to the page that it is. If this is too monstrous for me, there's different ways I can manipulate the images down on the bottom of the screen. You can see I can change pages, make it bigger or smaller. And you can often print off from this, but it's only a few pages at a time per day or something like that. So these are very rich. If you have a very odd word or a person or a thing or a theory, these are really great researches for finding some arcane, sometimes historical information. And sometimes you can find some really great books on success and business management from major people in all the business areas. So you can also use it for that. So back to the business section of databases A to Z, I'm going to go to ProQuest. Now, ProQuest is fantastic because it's cross-disciplinary. It still has your pieces, and it does include the business, but it also includes other issues. Suppose we're looking at supply chain issues with COVID-19. So I'm using the and, but I can use and or not to get rid of it. That's the Boolean search. I put this in quotes, so it searches in a phrase. This is a big database, so that really may make a difference. And I'm going to go to search. And I make a lot of my decisions on the next page because I like how this left hand works. If I want, definitely I want full text because what I see, I want to get. This is going to let me know the different types of information I can access, what kind of formats are available to me. It includes things like working papers, scholarly journals, blogs, podcast websites, and a whole number of multimedia. And when I come here, this is from private companies. This is from a newswire. I may not want that. Those may be slide. In fact, you may want to suppress those because sometimes you'll see, again, the article in several places. They didn't even really change it. This is from a news service. These are newspapers. So I might want to focus on something to get rid of the things that are slight. I'm going to select a magazine section. And here I'm seeing Progressive Grocer, a monthly review from New York, talking about capitalism and commodities, seeing medical drones and pharma supply chains and life science leader. So this is really taking across a spectrum I may not have reached if I was just looking in the business section. I'm seeing a lot about modern materials and warehousing issues, logistics, reinvention issues, presidential documents even. So, and this is from like a different type of monthly review, some things from India. So, Foreign Affairs, another major magazine. So this could give you the complete roundabout piece on a business problem that you're working on when you see how it's affecting other different types of businesses or things that won't show up in business as much, say like health news or progressive or political types of issues or anything like that. This is going to give you a larger piece. And when you go in here and you look at this, this is a magazine, you will have the full text of the article. Much like Netflix, if you love this article, you may love this article, and it will go down and you can take out some other keywords to do your research with that may work. And as with most databases, it does have a citation generator. The rule is, I can't say this enough, and this is APA 6th edition, and we're on APA 7th, copy this and correct. It's very useful, but it's very rarely all correct. So, I hope this helped you out a lot. This was a really quick survey, and I kind of cherry-picked a few things that might be interesting, but you may be working on something else. Do you know what? I'd love to talk to you about that. Because research can be as an individual as you are. So, if you can't find something, or you have an idea about something you want to find, and you're trying to develop a strategy, hey, ask your librarian. We love working with that. If you get absolutely no search results, a lot of times you're in the wrong database. You need to tune up your little keywords. And sometimes you just misspelled something because not all of these products correct your spelling. But whatever it may be, we, your library staff, would love to talk to you about it because we like it when you do great work and that you really have some joy in it. So reach out to us if you need us.